guys, it's Ty and welcome back to my channel. So we are now at video number 3 in my end of year series. So the first video was all of the books that I DNF'd in 2025. The second video was my 10 surprising reads of 2025. If you have missed either of those videos and you would like to check them out, I will have those videos linked down below so that you guys can go back and watch those. So for video number 3 today, we are going to be focusing on my 10 disappointing reads of 2025. Now, all of these books weren't that bad. Some of them are bad, but not all of them were that bad. These are books more so that I had really been looking forward to, and something about them really disappointed me. Some of them got 3 stars for me, but the other ones, these are like 2 stars and below. Almost DNFs. Probably some of these I should have DNF'd. So these are the 10 disappointing reads of 2025, and we will go ahead and get started. So first up, we're starting strong. This was like one of the first books that I read this year. This is Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney. This is a adult mystery. It probably is like a thriller, but to me it was more mystery. I was looking forward to this book, but I was also asked to co-host with Gabby over on her channel for her Booktubers book club. This was her, I think it was like either January or February pick, but I also co-hosted it with Aaron. So I will have the link to that live show down below. I think me and Gabby were on the same page with how much we did not like this one, and Aaron actually enjoyed it. But for this one, we're following this author. I think his name was like Grady Green. And one day his wife calls him on the phone and he hears her like, sounds like she got into some sort of accident. She's in distress. So he basically goes out to where her car is and find that she has gone missing, and he has not seen her since. A year later, he's still dealing with his missing wife. He's struggling with his work. And so he ends up going to like this secluded island so that he can work on his like next writing project. While he's there, he actually sees a woman that looks strangely familiar. So much so that they look like his wife, his missing wife. And the story kind of takes off from there. I was gonna say something nice, but I don't really have a lot of nice things to say. I am not someone that really looks into like a lot of plot holes. Some stuff actually tends to go over my head and I don't even realize it until someone else says it. But in this one, there were just a couple of things that I just could not overlook plot-wise. And there was one thing in particular that I was like, no fucking way. Like, that could never have happened. And because of that and some other things in here, I just could not get on board with the story. The only thing that I actually really liked about it was that it takes place on like this secluded island. I like anything that has a secluded setting. So that is one of the things that excited me about picking this up. Outside of that, I didn't really care for anything about this book. Now, Alice Feeney has another book coming out at the beginning of the year. I have heard excellent reviews from people who have been getting their hands on early copies. So I am hesitantly looking forward to that one, but this one I did not like. This next book might make a few people upset, but this is Julie Chan is Dead by Lian Zhang, and I did not care for this one as much as I wanted to, which is why I'm considering it a disappointment. So this is a adult mystery, and so we're following Chloe, and Chloe is Julie's twin, but they grew up separately. Chloe kind of grew up on the poorer side while Julie had a much better life. She is a really popular influencer. They did have like a reunion where they kind of met up, but Chloe finds out that Julie actually only did that for content. But one day Julie gets this like distressed call and she ends up going to New York where Julie lives, and she gets to the apartment and find out that Julie is actually dead. So when the police come, they actually think that Chloe is Julie, and Chloe doesn't correct anybody, and she essentially takes over Julie's life. She steps into becoming this really popular influencer. She starts to meet all of like Julie's friends, the people that Julie worked with, and basically she's living the life right now. And that's like the first half of the story. The second half of the story takes a really weird turn, and Chloe starts to really find out some dark stuff about Julie and her life and some of the things she was like wrapped up in. This is one of the ones I gave 3 stars. I really enjoyed the first part of this story and how it really talked about like influencer culture. I really like Chloe as a character. She was like really kind of sarcastic and funny. I really ate up the first half of this book. The second half of the book lost me. I did not like where the story went. I felt like it turned kind of silly and so unserious, and that was just not where I thought the story was going to go, and honestly it's not where I wanted the story to go. I said this when I initially talked about it in one of my recent reads. Even though that's not where I wanted the story to go, I have no idea what I wanted the story to do. I just know that I didn't want it to do what it did. So I'm considering this one a disappointment. Another disappointment for me is Forget Me Not by Stacey Willingham. This is considered a thriller. I would never tell anybody that this is a thriller. This is a mystery at best. And it's a very slow burn mystery at that. So I don't even know who we're following. Claire, I think. Yes. So we're following this woman, Claire. And back in the day, I want to say when they were like in high school, her older sister, Natalie, went missing. And Claire never really kind of got over that. Her parents never really got over that. So Claire is at like a really tough point in her life. And she ends up going home because her mother gets into like this accident and she wants to help her mother out. So some things happen with her mother. So she ends up not staying with her mother. And then she ends up getting a job at the same place Natalie had a job at before she went missing. While she is, I think it was like at a winery. So while she's working at this winery, she comes across this journal that was like hidden in like the air vents. And we're kind of flipping back and forth between what Claire is going through now and what was taking place in the journal. And she's starting to learn some things about her sister and what really happened to her the day she went missing. The first 2 books that I read from Stacey Willingham, I really enjoyed both of those stories. However, these last 2 books from her, I have not enjoyed so much. They have turned into like some of the slowest stories I have ever read. The only reason that I kept going with this one is because I actually did enjoy the journal entries. Had we not had the journal entries, I most likely would have DNF'd this one. This took me so long to get through. It's not even that long. And I found myself bored throughout a lot of this. And I think another problem that I have with this is because I read quite a few mysteries this year where somebody's sister went missing. And so nothing about it I think was like that surprising. And yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to pick up another book by Stacey Willingham. Whatever she comes out with next, I will have to really listen to people's reviews to see if it is a book that I even want to attempt to read. But yeah, this one did not work. Next up, we have Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. This is this is her debut adult thriller. And I was severely let down by this. You guys know I am a Holly Jackson stan. And when I found out that she was coming out with a adult book, I was super excited. This was definitely one of my most anticipated reads for this year, and I did not like it. In this, I forgot the girl's name. We're following this girl, Jet. Jet is 27. On the night of Halloween, she's walking back home from like this Halloween festival. She gets in her house. Somebody comes up in the house and bops her upside the head and leaves her for dead. However, Jet is not dead. She wakes up in the hospital a couple of days later, and the doctors tell her, look, you're gonna die, but you have 2 options. One, this aneurysm that has formed in the back of your head, we can go in and try to remove it, but you have like a 10% chance of survival. 2, you can just kind of wait this thing out and the aneurysm will erupt in about a week and you'll die. So either option, you're probably gonna die. So Jet says that she is just gonna ride this wave and she is going to wait till this aneurysm bursts. But until then, she's gonna try to figure out who tried to kill her. So she works with her best friend and they start looking into who possibly tried to kill her. The reason why I know Jet is 27 is because she did not read like she was 27. I did not like her character. She came off as like a spoiled brat, and she read a lot younger. You could have told me that this was young adult and I would have been like, okay, yes, it's young adult. I probably would have believed it a little bit more. I didn't like where the story ended up. Some of the reveals to me didn't really make sense. And there was also like this little side plot of a romance that I didn't care about. I don't know. I wanted so much more from this story. But take my review with a grain of salt because a lot of people have really been enjoying this story. So it could just be a me thing. I might have hyped this up so much in my head and I was probably expecting so much and it just severely let me down. Although Holly Jackson's last book that she came with also let me down and also ended up in my disappointing books of whatever year I read that. Will I pick up the next book by Holly Jackson? Yes. And hopefully it's better than this. The next one I have here is Head Cases by John McMahon. This is an adult mystery thriller. And I was really excited about this one because it dealt with this FBI agent. His name is Gardner. And he works on a special unit that deals with like puzzles and things that these people have to solve that other agents were unable to solve. I honestly don't remember much about this story, if that tells you anything. But yeah, all I remember is that they were trying to find some serial killer. But the reason why I found this book so disappointing is because it didn't really lean into like the puzzle part. Like to me, it didn't really lean into the reason why Gardner and these other people were put on this specific team to solve like these mysteries that other people really couldn't solve. I didn't find anything like shocking or particularly special about this book. I think this is another one that just suffered from me really hyping it up in my head. This is the first book in the series. The next book in the series is Inside Man. I may or may not try and listen to that one on audio. I have been seeing some good reviews for that for people who have been getting early copies. But yeah, this one just wasn't what I was hoping it would be. And that's kind of why I'm considering it a disappointment. This one really pains me to say that I did not like it, but I did not like this. This is Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. This is a adult romance, I guess, if you can call it a romance. I dislike this book so much that I actually have a dedicated review to how much I did not like it. So in this, we're following Xavier and Samantha. And Xavier is a vet. And the first time Samantha and Xavier have an encounter is because she takes this cat. I don't know if she found the cat, somebody gave her the cat. It really doesn't matter how she got the cat, but she takes the cat to the vet because the cat doesn't have a butthole. That's not funny, but I did chuckle when they said that. But the cat it can't poop. So that's how she ends up meeting Xavier. They do not have the best encounter. They encounter each other again and they go out on a date. The date goes well, but at the end of the date, Samantha tells Xavier that she's actually going back to California to be with her family because her mother has a really bad case of dementia. It's either dementia or Alzheimer's. I'm not finding it quickly. It's one of those, and her mother has a severe case of it. So Samantha is going out there to be with her family and to help take care of her mom. Xavier has to stay behind because he has a job. And so basically it's us following Samantha as she's dealing with like the issues with her mom and her family, and Xavier trying to figure out how he's going to afford being able to travel back and forth to see Samantha. The reason why I say you can consider this a romance if you want to, because there isn't a lot of romance. They aren't together a lot. The whole thing is them trying to figure out how to get together because they both don't really have the funds to be traveling back and forth to see each other. So it's a romance without two people that can't be together. I don't understand. Also, it focuses a lot on like Samantha's family problems, with them trying to figure out the best way to take care of her mother and some stuff that happened with her father. And yeah, it's just, it wasn't a lot of romance, and I wanted more romance from this story. The one thing that I have liked about Abby Jimenez's other books is that she has a really good balance between the romance and stuff that the other personal stuff that the characters are going through, which I actually like the personal stuff the characters are going through, but I also am here for romance. Now, if you would have just told me that this was like a adult fiction, sure, I probably wouldn't rate this as low as I did. But because you told me this was a romance, that's kind of what I want in the story. I'm looking for a romance, or at least a better balance of the two. This was literally just them working through their issues, because Xavier also has some issues with like his mom too. So yeah, I did not really like this one. And I found out that her next book that is coming out next year is a part of this series. We do not need another book with any of the characters in this story. So I can't say for sure whether or not that is going to be something that I'm going to check out. If I end up checking it out, it's because everybody else said it was really good. But I haven't really heard that many good reviews about this one. So I can't imagine if people are really going to like the next one. So didn't like this. Next up, we have Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I have honestly not liked the Emily Henry books since I read, and let me not say not like, they weren't as good as I wanted them to be since I read The People We Meet on Vacation. And that is an unpopular opinion because a lot of people didn't like that one, but that's the one that I really enjoyed. So The Great Big Beautiful Life, I listened to on audio. I did not want to go out and purchase the book because I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, and I was right. I don't even remember the names of these characters, but it was two authors, and they were trying to interview this lady. I don't remember if she was like really famous for something, but they wanted to both tell her story. And so she told both of them that she would speak with them separately, and whoever took like the best notes or whatever would be the one to write her story. So the two characters, they end up meeting, obviously, and they have like an instant attraction and really are infatuated with each other. And then we're getting like this flashback chapters of this old lady's story that she's telling both of them. The story was not that interesting, and I did not care for their romance. It like moved really fast. At the end of this, there was like this huge twist. Oh my God, this thing that I just know was supposed to blow us away. And when I got to it, I was just like, okay, no way. We waited a whole story for that. So needless to say, I did not like this story. I think people who are already huge fans of Emily Henry really like the story, and good for them. But if you're like me and you are already like on the fence about her, I don't think this is going to be the one that is going to make you like her. Check out anything else and not this one. But Great Big Beautiful Life did not work for me. Next up, we have The Hunting Wives by May Cobb. Every time I think of this book, it just infuriates me because of how much I did not like it. The only reason, no, there's two reasons. The only two reasons why I wanted to pick this up was one, because of the show on Netflix that I have yet to watch because of how much I did not like this book. And two, because one of my friends was like, oh, that was her favorite book that she read the year that she read it. So I was like, of course I'm going to believe you. It was terrible. I don't remember these characters' names, and I don't even care to look it up. But we're following this woman and her husband who moved back to Texas. And when she goes back to Texas, she gets wrapped up with this group of women, and like the main woman is Margot. I'm pretty sure that's her name. And this woman is like so infatuated with Margot. And so Margot and these other group of like rich housewives invite this girl to be a part of their group, which is called the Hunting Wives. So on like Friday nights, they go out and they like shoot stuff in a field, but they also do other stuff. But the whole story is basically this woman who is so infatuated with Margot, and I just never understood why. I just needed a reason to know why she wanted Margot. I don't get it. But at like 60% of the book, we finally find out that someone dies, and then this woman is like questioned, and now she's trying to figure out what actually happened to the girl. It took so long for that to happen that I forgot that somebody was supposed to die. But this whole story is just about this woman who is infatuated with Margot. The characters felt so childish. They did not feel like older women in like their 30s who have kids, like kids old enough to be in high school. Like these characters did not read that old. They read like teenagers to me. I don't know. Something about this book just did not sit well with me. I really did not like it. It is a story that I really wanted to DNF, but I was like, surely this gets better because there's a whole Netflix series for it. So surely something is gonna happen. I didn't like it. So next up, we have The Poppy Fields by Nikki Erlich. This is a adult fiction. I'm not going to say that I hated this book because I did not hate it. I was really looking forward to this one because I read The Measure by this author a couple of years ago. I loved The Measure. I loved like the concept of that story, and it was actually kind of scary if you really sit back and think about it. And it made me question like, what would I do in those situations? So when I found out about this one and what it was about, I was intrigued. So this one is about like this experimental field of poppies. So the poppy fields. And basically people who are experiencing extreme bouts of grief go to these poppy fields, and they are essentially put to sleep. And they are put to sleep for an extended period of time. And then when they wake up, they are supposed to have been like cured of their grief. Of course, with any sort of experimental treatments, things happen. There are side effects, which is the case with this. We are primarily following, I think it's like 4 or 5 characters that are all traveling to the poppy field for one reason or another. And throughout the story, we are getting their backstories onto why they want to go to the poppy fields. I honestly did not feel connected to any of these characters. With her other book, The Measure, I did feel for some of the characters, but in this one, especially since it's dealing with grief, I was actually surprised that I just couldn't connect with anybody. I couldn't connect with like any of their stories and their reasonings. And ultimately, I found that the idea of the poppy fields was really intriguing. And it's not something I don't know if I would do something like that, but I could see why other people would do it. I just really wish that I could have felt for the characters. There was also like one random character that we got that was also traveling with these people, and we got some of her backstory, but we didn't need it. Like there was absolutely no reason for us to follow that particular character. And anytime we got to her, it just kind of like kept taking me out of the story. So I wanted way more from this than what we got. I know quite a few people have been reading it because I know I've seen it on people's like TBRs and whatnot, but I honestly don't know how this particular book has been doing. I'm not sure if people have really been enjoying it or not, but I know for me, I do consider it a bit of a disappointment for this year. The last book that I want to talk about, and a book that I really consider a disappointment, that is Little Rot by Akwaeke Emezi. I hope I'm saying that correctly. But this is a adult fiction, and if you ever decide to pick this book up, I would say please please check out the trigger warnings because this has every trigger warning you could possibly think of. So I'm really fuzzy on the details. But from what I remember, this is following this couple who recently broke up, and the woman, she ends up hanging out with her friends for the night trying to get over the breakup. The man ends up going to his friend's club. His friend like owns a club where people go to have like sex, something like that. And the story kind of takes off from there. A lot of wild stuff happens, and like the characters end up becoming like interconnected by the end. This was very disturbing. I'm not even sure how I was able to complete it. There is a lot of sexual violence in here. That's really all that I remember. But what I do remember is that I did not like it. I did not really care for any of the characters. I did not understand what the purpose of this story was besides to traumatize me. I usually do not get bothered by a lot of things, but for some reason, this story just did not sit well with me. I just did not understand like what the point was. Even when I read other people's reviews, some people who liked it, I didn't even understand why they liked it. I didn't understand like what message, what plot did you take away from this story that I missed? I don't know if I just missed a couple of pages. I don't know. All I know is that story just did not work for me. If you are a fan of this author and this is a story that you want to pick up, please, 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 please check out the trigger warnings before you do so. Those are my 10 disappointing reads of this year. Please let me know down in the comments below if you actually enjoyed any of these. And please let me know what were some of your disappointing reads for this year. Again, I will have my other 2 videos linked down below. So my DNFs for 2025 and my surprising reads of 2025 if you guys want to check those out. My 4th and final video that you guys should be on the lookout for are my best books of 2025. So I will see you guys next time.